Hi YouTube, Timothy Unkert here, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Markdown options within the VS Code text editor. In the previous couple days, I've looked over Atom's Markdown Writer, as well as Emacs Markdown Mode. And there seemed to be some interest in this because I believe some of my viewers are those who are looking to start their own blogs, perhaps do a static site blog like through Jekyll or something like that, and they want to be able to write Markdown and convert it to HTML easily. If that's you, luckily this video might be interesting to you because VS Code has a lot of great options. Okay, so let's get started. And to open a file in VS Code, I'm just going to go to the File Explorer here, and I'm going to first open a folder. And let's create a new folder. Let's call this Markdown, because this is about Markdown. And let me move this up. I'm going to click OK. And it's going to ask me if I trust the authors of the folder, and also if I trust the authors of the parent folder. I'm going to say yes because it's me. Okay, so to create a new file, I'm going to click on this icon here, and I'm going to name it with the .md extension for Markdown. So let's just say this is a Markdown file .markdown. Okay. To close the File Explorer, I can either click this here or I can do Control B, but I'll let you be forewarned that with the Control B, we're going to install a plugin that does conflict with that key binding. So I'm just going to use this, okay? And we'll install that later on. First, I'm going to go through all the just basic setup of or basic options that VS Code offers for Markdown mode. Okay, so one thing I can do is I can change the font size, and I can do that by going into the settings with Control Comma. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it well in the video. So we're going to change it to 22, and it saves automatically. Another thing I want to set up before I get started is autosave. So I'm going to go to File here, and just go down to Autosave here and click Check. Okay. So let's start first talking about, well, this is a video, so let's do a first level heading, a video on VS Code's Markdown options, okay? And first, let's start talking about links. Now with VS Code, with the default VS Code setup, without any other extensions for Markdown, you're going to be able to do Control Space, and then you'll have this menu that comes up. So now these are just other things. And as you type, you're going to get more words here because it's kind of like, select some words from your document kind of thing. What I like to do is do the up arrow, and then that moves us into the options that are specific to Markdown. You'll have this little square here beside them. Now, we want to do link. So I could just click on link, or I can start to type it. But if I click on it, this is what it's going to give me, okay? So it's going to give me some text, and this is where I put my link text. So let's just say a link to Google, okay? Over here, I would go here and just delete all this and then put in HTTPS and then google.com, right? And that's going to be a link to Google, okay? All right, now that's good, but if I want to get this a little bit faster, there is a plugin I can install that will help me take care of this with keyboard shortcuts, and that plugin is called Quick and Simple Text Selection. So let's go here. Other thing, I'll talk about themes in a moment, but we're just going to search for Quick and Simple Text Selection. And we'll see that Quick and Simple Text Selection comes up here. Let's click Install. Okay. So one of the great things about VS Code, like Atom, is that it can be extended with a lot of plugins, and like Atom, the plugin installation system is easy. It's very straightforward. Okay. So now we have that plugin installed. I'm going to go back to this file explorer here. I'm actually just going to close it out. And let's do another link. So I'm going to do control space, and this time I'm just going to start typing link and hit enter. Okay. And let's do a link to Yahoo. Okay. Now I'm going to move over here and I'm going to do control K and then shift 9, which is going to give me the parentheses sign. So control K in the opening parentheses, and you'll see that all the text here is highlighted. So what I can do is just quickly backspace, and now I'm ready to type whatever link I want. So I'm going to type HTTPS and then yahoo.com. Okay. So again, for the link, it's control space, start typing link, hit enter. Let's do a link to Bing, and then move over here, control K, that backspace, control K, open parentheses, backspace, and you're ready to type the name of the link or paste it in. So this is bing.com. So that's links. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is images. Okay. So let's do an image. All right. So I'm going to do 2 hashtags for a second level heading, and I'm going to say images. All right. So with images, what we can do again is control space, start to type image, and we'll see we got the square option highlighted, hit enter. We are put inside the brackets where we would include the alt text. Let's go find an image from Wikimedia Commons. Let's go to Wikimedia Commons here and find an image. And let's search for an image of a cat. Okay, and this one, yeah. All right, so let's go to more details, and we'll just use this file on the web. So what we want to get is just a file URL. So I'm going to highlight this, do Control C, and I'm going to go here. First, I'll do the alt text. We'll say an image of a cute kitty, and then we'll move here, Control K, Shift 9, delete that, then do Control V and paste in the link. Okay, so now we've got our image in the file. Pretty straightforward with that. You can also do, within these parentheses, do a relative link if it's a link to an image on your blog. So let's say you had a folder that was called images. So let's actually do another link. Let's do control space, image, hit enter, a picture of a kitty on my blog, and then we'd go over here, control K, shift 9, delete that. Let's say we had it in a folder called images, and then kitty.jpg, something like that. So that's how we do a local file versus a file that was on the web, say from Wikimedia Commons. Okay. Unordered lists. All right, so let's do that next. All right, so we're going to do control space and then start typing unordered list, hit enter, and it's going to give us a list with 3 items, the first item, the second item, and the third item. So you notice that dashes start the unordered list. I'm not sure how valuable this is because I can just, if I want to create a list, I can just do list item 1, list item 2, and list item 3. But if you did forget how to make a list, this might be a good option for you. Okay, so that's unordered lists. All right, let's do ordered lists. So again, control space. We'll start typing in ordered list. We'll see that selection come up. Make sure it's highlighted, hit enter. And we've got our order list with our first, second, and third item. We can also just do an ordered list with 1 first item, 2 second item, 3 third item, and so forth. So with ordered list, and we want to make a heading for that. Is that an advantage with the keyboard shortcut? Maybe, maybe not. But again, if you really forgot how to do an ordered list, that would be something that you might want to figure out. Next one's going to be horizontal rules. So to create a horizontal rule, the HTML tag, which you can write in Markdown, is just HR. Sometimes they have a slash like that. But with HTML5, you can just do HR. But if I wanted to create one in Markdown, typically it's 3 dashes, but so that's pretty easy. But if you forgot what it is, control space, type in horizontal rule, hit enter, and you see they do a few more. Okay, so they give you the horizontal rule. All right. Let's do code blocks. So a code block, control space. Actually, sorry, code block. Let's write a code block first. So we'll write some code. So we'll declare a doc type here. HTML. We're just, whoops, I hit the wrong thing. Brought up a license there. HTML, and then we'll do, HTML. We'll open the head of the document. We'll tab in. We'll have a meta character set equal to UTF-8, something like that. Might have a viewport tag. Might have a title. This is an HTML document. I'll close the title, not the HTML tag yet. And then we have the head. So we close the head of the document. Now let's say I wanted to make this a code block. So now that I'm in the code block, I can do control space and I can do code. Whoops, no, that's not giving me the option. Hold on. This one is a little finicky. Let me try it this way. So let's do code block, and it's actually not coming up. So sometimes it comes up, sometimes it didn't. It didn't come up for this video, but if it does come up, so that's a little questionable. If it did come up, it would, and I selected it, would surround it with 3 backticks on the top and the bottom. That's how you do a code block in Markdown. It didn't work this time though. So you see that one's a little finicky. Okay. So be forewarned. All right. Text styles. Okay. Let's do text styles. Now this is before I install any plugins. So let's do control. Actually, let me do a heading first. Call this text styles. Now let's say we want bold text and we forgot what it is. We'll do control space, type in bold, hit enter. We've got the 2 asterisks before and after the cursor. That's how you create bold text. So this is bold text. And you'll see that VS Code will highlight it in bold. So that's kind of nice. Let's do control space and then italic text. That's 1 hashtag before, or sorry, 1 asterisk before and after the word. So italic text, and you'll see that VS Code puts it in italic text. And then let's do strike through. So let's do control space, and you can just go down here and do strike through, and that's the 2 approximately signs before and after. So this is strike through text. Okay. So you get strike through text. Okay. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is quotes. So in VS Code, I can go and do a quote with the control space, or you can just remember that it's the forward arrow. It's probably easier if you know it to just do the forward arrow, but if you forgot what a quote is, this is helpful. All you have to know is control space, and then you're going to pick up the main elements in VS Code. So that's really nice, actually. Let me just say VS Code's Markdown support is really nice. Okay. And that's a quote from a Tim. Okay. All right. Let's talk about headings. Okay. So I've been doing headings. So all 2nd level headings, the amount of what level heading it is the amount of hashtags before it. So I did 2 here. So you do 2 hashtags and a space. You have to have the space in between and then your heading. All right. That's a 2nd level heading. 1 hashtag and a space is 1st level heading. 3 and a space is a 3rd, so on and so forth. But let's say you forgot that. You can do control space, and you can go up here and go and find heading 1, heading 2. Let's insert a heading 3. So we'll do heading 3. Gives you the 3 hashtags. This is a H3 tag, essentially, when converted to HTML. All right. So that's headings. Now, okay, so now we're going to come to the plugins part. So let's say we wanted to insert a table of contents. Well, there's no real good option to do that until we have an extension installed. And a quick shortcut to get to the extensions is Control-Shift-X. Okay, that's going to open up the extensions and put you right in the search window. And we're going to search for a plugin called Markdown All-in-One. It's going to be the first one that comes up. So this one, Markdown All-in-One. I'm going to click on this and install this plugin. Okay, so it's going to take a moment to install. I'm going to have some coffee while it does that. Okay, and we are installed with that. Okay, so what I can do here, let me just close that out, is I can now go up and I can go up to the top and I'll just do Control Home, go to the top here, and let's say, now you have to move your cursor to where you want to insert the table of contents, but let's say I wanted to insert the table of contents here. I would do Control-Shift-P, and I would start to search for it with TOC. Okay, and I'm going to see Markdown All-in-One, Create Table of Contents here. So I'm going to click on that. And boom, I've got a table of contents, and it will update it. Okay, so this is my table of contents. So that's easy to create with the Markdown All-in-One plugin. Okay. All right, there is one thing that I found that didn't seem to be easy to create, and that was tables. So I didn't find an option for this. There may be. If you know of one, please comment in the comments below. But for a table, typically what I would do is maybe have this is, so maybe something like table heading 1. Okay, we're going to put a pipe there, and then table heading 2, and then we basically keep the parts of the table apart by doing that, and then we have like table data 1, table data 2. Now, one thing we can do is preview this with Control-K-V. And we can see we have my table. I may want to put some stuff before and after, like here and here and here, whoops, here and here. Okay, now I'm creating my table that way. There doesn't seem to be an easy option to insert tables like with the Markdown Writer extension for Atom. So that's a consideration if you're doing a lot of tables. Okay. There are some other options with the Markdown All-in-One plugin, and I did say it does conflict a little bit because let's just make a heading. So we'll say text styles Markdown All-in-One. So if I want bold, I can just do Control-B. But remember, Control-B also opened the File Explorer on the side. So now my Control-B gets me bold text. So this is now bold text. Likewise, I can do Control-I for italic text. Now that is faster than the other option, in my opinion. Okay, so you have some stuff like that, but it does conflict with the default VS Code key bindings. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. But if I did want the File Explorer open and I wanted to use a keyboard shortcut, not the mouse, I can just do Control-Shift-E, and that opens it. All right, but to close it, I probably want to click it. Okay, I think this is probably an advantage in Markdown that can outweigh the advantage of opening the File Explorer. So I like this. But so that's one thing with Markdown All-in-One. Another thing you can do with Markdown All-in-One is you can insert a math environment. So if I want to run a Markdown All-in-One command, I just go to my command palette and type Markdown all-in-one, and it will give me all the options here. So if I want to toggle a math environment, I can do that, which is $2, and then I can put KTeX, not latex, KTeX, or KTeX, not LaTeX, code in there. Okay, so I can do that and create a math formula that way, which is nice. If you've been watching my channel, you notice I do a lot of coding and math. So this is something I plan on exploring further in the future. Okay. All right. Exporting to HTML. Okay. So what I can do is, let's pull up my commands again, and we'll do Markdown all-in-one. And you'll see we can print the current document to HTML. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now if I open my File Explorer on the side, you'll see I have this document in HTML. You'll also see that I get this stuff from the Markdown Math with the KTeX, I think it's called, with all this styling stuff. So I could delete this out. It's a lot of stuff. You can see in the side explorer here that there is a lot of stuff before I get to the basic styling. So that's a consideration. We have some style sheets here as well that you can cut out. I did put on my 90s style blog. I actually left all this style in this article. I'll leave a link in the description just to show you what it looks like. It does look pretty nice as a default. Okay, so it does give you a lot of styling there. Another option you could do is Markdown IT, which they actually recommend with VS Code without this Markdown all-in-one plugin, is to use the node module Markdown IT. That might leave it so the table of contents doesn't work because it typically doesn't put in the ID for the heading, which you need. Markdown all-in-one does, though. So the table of contents should work. So if you really want a table of contents, you may want to do the Markdown all-in-one, print document to HTML versus converting it with Markdown IT. Okay. Okay, so now let me take a look. If there's anything else I want to cover before I talk about the themes. Okay, yeah, there's some other things we can toggle here just with some Markdown all-in-one with the keyboard shortcuts. If I go here, let's talk about some more keyboard shortcuts for Markdown all-in-one. Okay, so we talked about Control-I for italics text. I can do Control-Shift close bracket, and that'll give me a first level heading, or it'll toggle up the heading. So let's do, this is a fourth level heading. Let's make it a fourth level heading, and let's do Control-Shift, and we'll toggle it down to a fifth level heading, or we can do the opening bracket and toggle it up headings. Okay, so the opening bracket toggles it up, the closing bracket toggles it down. Okay, we can talk about Control-M. That'll toggle a math environment, which is these two $signs that you start a math environment. So that's cool. If we have to-do items, I could do Alt-C to check, uncheck them. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's see, Control-Shift-V. That toggles preview in a separate tab. So you see my kitty shows up like that. Pretty nice. Okay, close that out. And then Control-KV. Control-KV toggles the Markdown preview with a split screen on the side. Okay. All right. One last thing I want to talk about with my setup. Let's talk about the theme that I'm using. So if I get rid of all that, we'll see what I've installed. And this is the community material theme that I'm using. Pretty nice. So if you're wondering about the color theme, that's what I'm using for writing these Markdown documents. Okay, so that's pretty much it. What do I think about VS Code's built-in Markdown support? I think it's pretty good, and I think with Markdown All-in-One, it's really good. With Markdown All-in-One, you do get a lot of that styling into the document. So a typical file size that I uploaded to my 90s style blog site was about, let's say, 14 kilobytes of, which isn't large, right? But the one with all the styling left in was 60 kilobytes. So it is a little bit larger. 60 kilobytes still is extremely small, but that's just a consideration when using that plugin. You can obviously delete it out, but that's a little extra step if you want your own styling. So anyways, I hope that gave you some information about VS Code's Markdown support and some plugin options that you can use to extend the Markdown support. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow. You can also check out my social platforms in the links below in the description, and also the blog post that I generated from VS Code. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.